The phantom passenger. The midnight bus that never stops. It was 11:57 p.m. when Daniel Rowe caught the last bus home. The city was quiet, streets gleaming with rain, and the bus stop lamp flickered like it was trying to stay awake. When the Route 67 rolled up, its headlights cut through the fog like ghostly eyes. The driver, an old man with hollow cheeks, didn't say a word. He just nodded once. Daniel climbed aboard. Only 2 other passengers sat there, a woman in a gray coat staring out the window, and a man in a suit with his face buried in a newspaper. The air smelled faintly of old metal and something else. Something like wet earth. Ever noticed how buses feel different after midnight? He dropped a coin in the slot, found a seat near the back, and pulled out his phone. No signal, not even Wi-Fi. Just static where bars should have been. He looked around. Every time the bus passed a streetlight, their reflections flashed in the windows, but his reflection looked slightly off. His head tilted one way, but the reflections lagged just behind. He blinked hard. It was gone. The bus rattled on through empty streets. No one got on. No one got off. Yet, somehow, the sound of footsteps echoed faintly from the back, like someone pacing slowly up the aisle. He turned around. No one there. If you hear footsteps on an empty bus, don't turn around. He faced forward again, heart pounding. The woman in the gray coat had moved. She was sitting closer now. Tug ead. Tears in her get-up. Her face was pale to pale, and her eyes were fixed on the ceiling. The man with the newspaper rustled the pages. Next stop, Eastbridge, he muttered. But Daniel checked the digital sign above the driver's head. It still said Downtown Terminal. The driver's eyes met his in the rearview mirror. For a split second, Daniel swore he saw the old man's reflection, smiling, even though his real face stayed completely still. He leaned forward. "Excuse me, when do we stop next?" The driver didn't answer. He repeated louder, "Hey, when's the next stop?" The driver's hand tightened on the wheel. "We don't stop," he said flatly. Daniel frowned. "What do you mean, you don't stop?" "This bus goes to West Hill." The driver's eyes darkened. "Not anymore. When the driver says the bus doesn't stop, believe him." The bus shuddered suddenly, as if it hit something. The lights flickered. The woman in gray turned her head slowly toward Daniel. Her eyes were black, hollow like 2 tunnels filled with nothing, and her mouth began to open. No sound came out, just a faint hiss like wind through broken glass. Daniel scrambled out of his seat. "Driver, stop the bus!" But the old man kept driving. The road outside had changed. No more streetlights, no buildings, no city skyline. Just endless black fog swirling around them. He ran to the door, slammed the stop button again and again, but nothing happened. "Let me out. Jailai. Jail." The man with the newspaper lowered it finally. His face wasn't a face at all. It was a gaping hole, the edges twitching like static. "You can't get off," the voice said. "You're already on." Daniel stumbled back. His breath fogged up the window beside him. But when he looked out, the reflection staring back wasn't his. It was pale, gray, and smiling. Sometimes the reflection isn't yours anymore. The bus slowed. Not to stop, just enough for the sound of breathing to fill the silence. From the aisle, figures began to appear, passengers that hadn't been there before. Men, women, children, all gray, all motionless, sitting in perfect silence, their heads turned in unison toward him. He pressed against the window, desperate. "This isn't real. This isn't a." soft voice interrupted him. "You missed your stop, Daniel." He froze. It was the woman in gray, now standing right beside him. Her voice was calm, almost kind. I don't remember." She tilted her head. "You fell asleep on this very bus 3 years ago." He stared, shaking his head. "No, that's not possible." The driver finally spoke again. "He never remembers, Mom. None of them do." The bus lurched, the windows flashed, and for a split second, Daniel saw himself slumped in one of the seats, lifeless, eyes wide open. He screamed, but the sound faded, swallowed by the hum of the engine. Hours later, or maybe years, the bus rolled to a stop, at a quiet roadside stop in the middle of nowhere. The doors hissed open. A woman stepped aboard, tired, phone in hand, glancing at the empty seats. The driver nodded. "Last ride of the night." She dropped her coin in the slot and sat down, sighing. Behind her, Daniel's reflection smiled faintly in the dark window, even though there was no one sitting in that seat. Would you recognize the ghosts if you were riding with them? Sometimes it's not about missing the last bus. It's about realizing you've been on it far longer than you should have been.